Hello to everybody out there watching this tutorial. Welcome to Urzilla. My name is Hasrat Sabit. This is a project-based Bootstrap tutorial. We are building a professional, responsive website using Bootstrap. After you watch this tutorial, you'll be able to use the Bootstrap grid system and build websites that are responsive on small devices and medium devices. And also you will be able to use Bootstrap classes to add beautiful designs to your page. One thing that I would like to mention is that this is my first tutorial on YouTube, so please be patient with me. If I'm going too slow or if I'm going too fast, please at the end write them down on the comment section and I will make sure to improve all those suggestions in the next tutorial. So with that being said, let's show you guys what we are building in this project. Let me refresh the page. It's this website in front of you. It has this navigation on top. It has this header with an image on the right and text and two buttons. So let's scroll down. Then we have a section called services that has this 4 widgets. So keep scrolling. Then we have this pricing section that introduces packages about our service. And then we have a section called team that introduces our team members. And then we have a client section that shows some of the companies who are using our product. And then we have a contact form at the end that allows our customers or users to contact us through this contact form. And then we have a footer at the end that contains our information and a subscription input that they can put their email and subscribe to our newsletter. As you guys may have noticed, this website also has this cool animation. And once we finish building this website, I will also show you guys how to build this animation with this website. And as I said in the beginning, this will be a responsive website. This will also work on a small device like iPhone or Android. To see that, just come to this menu on the right side, click on it. In this window, you open Developer and then Responsive Design Mode. And you see this says in a small device size. We will have our logo on the left and then we will have this menu icon on the right. So if we click on it, the menu will drop down, and if we click again on it, it will close it. And then as we are scrolling, our content is organized. This is what the Bootstrap grid system does for you. So that's pretty much as far as showing you guys the project. So the next thing is to download Bootstrap. To download Bootstrap, open your browser and type getbootstrap.com. So on the first page, you see it says download Bootstrap. Click on it and it takes you to this page. There are 3 folders here to download. The first one is if you're using CSS and JavaScript, you download the source from here. But if you're using less, you download your code from here. And if you're using Sass, you download the code from here. Since we are not using less or Sass, so we don't download these two, we only download this first one. Click on it. And I will save it on my desktop. It will come in a zip folder. To unzip it, double click on it. Folder will be extracted. We don't need the zip folder anymore. Let's open the folder. We have 3 folders. We only need the JavaScript folder and the CSS folder. Copy the 2 folders. I have already created a folder for this project, and I call it, and it's on my desktop. It's this one, a Bootstrap landing page. You guys can go ahead, create your own folder and place it somewhere that you can access it easily. I will paste the 2 folders right here, and we don't need this folder anymore. In the CSS folder, we only need 2 files. It's this bootstrap.css and bootstrap.men.css. Men stands for menified. Both files are the same. They both have the same source code. The difference is that this one is compressed. If you open it, the code is not readable. And the reason they compress it, so when you upload your website onto the internet, your website will run faster if the code is compressed. Let's delete the files that we don't need. That's it. Let's organize them. In our JavaScript folder, we have 3 files. We use only 2, but it's okay. You know, there's one, this file, we don't need it, but let it be there. It's only 1 file. That's all as far as downloading Bootstrap. So the next step is to open our project on our code editor. I have my code editor in front of me, and I'm using Bracket. You guys can use any code editor that you want. If you want to download Bracket, just Google Bracket and you can download it for free. So to open our project, if you're using Bracket, come to File, and right here, Open Folder. Our folder is located on our desktop, like as you guys see here. I'll just open it. Here our project is now open on our code editor. I need to create 2 files. First one is the index.html, our main file, and then we need to create a style.css file. To create our index file, just right click here on the left menu and new file. And I will just name it index.html. And the other file that we are creating is the CSS file. So open our CSS folder, right click on it, new file, and we call it style.css. Both of our files created, and we can see it right here. And the next thing that we need to do is to copy the first page code from Bootstrap. That first page of code that we are copying from Bootstrap, it already has all these files that we have downloaded from Bootstrap. It's linked on that page. So we don't have to, link every single file that we have downloaded from Bootstrap. Let's go back to our Bootstrap website. And you come here, getting started, click on it, scroll down right here, copy. If you click on it, it says copied. It will copy the whole thing. Let's go back to our code editor and you paste it right here. So as you guys see, it has all the pages linked. Our Bootstrap CSS file is linked here. If you're writing this page of code manually, so you make sure that it's linked with jQuery. If it's not linked with jQuery, your Bootstrap will not work. So if you're copying it from the Bootstrap website, it will already have the jQuery. And then we have our Bootstrap JavaScript file at the very bottom. The only thing that we need to do is to link our style sheet that we have created. So let's link, and it's in our CSS folder. style. Here we go. Get rid of this, don't need it. Let's bring this all the way down. To make sure our Bootstrap is working and everything is set up, so let's test it out. Don't worry about what I'm writing here, just write exactly what I'm writing, and later on we will learn what these classes mean. I'll just create a button, and it's button, and I'll give it a class of btn primary. Just put login. But let's see if the button is created. Open our folder. Here we go. We have our button created. As you guys see, it's a beautiful button. It has border radius, it has hover effect, and we didn't write a single line of CSS code. So this is what Bootstrap does for you. You just add classes and it gives you beautiful design. This means that our Bootstrap is working. So let's go to the next step. Before we start working on our project, there's something very important that I would like to explain to you guys, and that's the Bootstrap grid system. I promise you, after explaining the grid system, we will start working on our project. So what is the Bootstrap grid system? The Bootstrap grid system is made up of rows and columns. Each screen can take up to 12 columns. To show you guys what I mean by rows and columns, let me write down a few lines of code. So let's get rid of this button. We don't need it anymore. Let's start with div with a class of container. I will explain to you guys what this container means. For now, let's move on and I'll come back to it. Let's create another div inside of our container with a class of row. And then let's create another class, another div. This is where we put our columns. To write columns, we start with col, that stands for column, dash, and then we have our breakpoints for each device. If you want your columns that you're writing is for a larger device, so like desktop and laptop, you put LG, which stands for large. If you're writing this column for a medium device like tablet, like iPad and other tablets, you use MD, which stands for medium. But if you're writing your column for small devices like iPhone or Android phones, you use SM, which stands for small. And then you give another dash, and then you write the number of your columns, like how many columns you want. So I'll just put LG and dash, and I'll put 3 columns. So inside of this, whatever you create, all the other containers that you create, it will come like on a stack. It will come one on top of another. So I'll just create a div with a class of box, and we will give it a design. So to just give you guys a clear picture of rows and columns, I'll style the row and the box that we just created. I'll just give the row a background color of black, and then I'll give the box a height of 200 pixel and a background color of orange. So let's refresh the page. Here we go. So this black color that you see, this is our row. It takes up to 12 columns. Like for this one, we gave it 3 columns. If we give this 6 columns, it will take half of the page. Or if we create another column, it will come next to this one until it completes the 12 columns. So let's give this 6 columns. You guys see this orange color, it will take half of the page. Give it 6 columns. Refresh the page. So you see now it takes half of the screen. So let's put it back to 3. And as I said, I will explain to you guys what this container means. Container is this wrapper that holds your rows and your columns. So if you use the class container, by default, it will have paddings on both sides of the row. So it will not take the full width of the screen. But if you give it the class of container fluid, it will take the entire width of the screen. Let's refresh it. So now you see our row is taking the entire width of our screen. I hope you guys understood what the Bootstrap grid system is. Let's move to the next step, and we are going to start building our project. Now it's time to start building our website. First thing that we're going to build is the navigation. Let's get rid of these codes that we don't need anymore. Just give it a comment to make sure we know where our navigation starts. To create the navigation, we start with a div with an ID of my navbar and give it a class of navbar. And then we want this navbar to have the default design. So navbar, we give it navbar default. And then we want this navbar to fixed on top. Give it the class of navbar fixed top. And we just give it a rule of navigation. And then we wrap our code inside a container. And then we create our div header, div with a class of navbar with class of header. And then so the first thing that we create is the hamburger icon, that when it's on a small device like iPhone, so that hamburger icons appear on the right. To create that, we start with creating a button with the class of navbar toggle. Give this button a type is button, and let's give it a data toggle of collapse, and give it a data target of navbar class collapse. So we haven't created this class yet, but we're going to create it pretty soon. And then we need to create those 3 lines inside that icon. So to do that, we need 3 span class of icon bar, and we need 3 of these. Command D, it will duplicate it for you. And the next thing that we are creating is our logo. So we want our logo in a anchor tag with a class of navbar brand. The website name will be media. You can name it whatever you want. And the next thing that we need to create is an unordered list. You make sure you come it's outside of this navbar header. So we wrap our unordered list in a div with a class of navbar collapse. So this is the class that we gave it right here. We'll target this unordered list, and then we give it another class of collapse. Then we create our unordered list, and we gave it a class of navbar nav, and then we want this unordered list to appear on the right side of the navigation bar. So to do that, we give it a class of navbar right, and this will push it to the right. So now it's time to create our list. Now we create a list, an anchor tag. First one would be the header section, and the name will be home. The reason we put header here, because this will be the first page that will appear on the screen, and later on once we create our sections, so we will link all of those sections that when we click on the navigation, it will take us to that section. That's why I put that names there. The next one is Control D, and it will duplicate the whole thing for you. The next one is the service section. Service. It's actually services, so let's give it one S. And the next one is pricing. Pricing. Let's write it down here. Pricing. And the next one is our team members. Let's give the name team. And the next one is our client. And clients. And the last one is our contact. Let's see how it looks on the browser. Refresh. There we go. We got our navigation, the default nav bar in Bootstrap. So let's see if we get that hamburger menu icon on the right, if we see this on a small device. So again, you just come, if you're on Firefox, come to this menu icon, click, and then developer, and then responsive design mode. Show it on a small device. So here we have the little menu icon on the right. If we click on it, so our list will drop down, and if we click on it, it will close it. This means that our navigation works. Let's style this navigation. Before we start styling our navigation, I just want to paste a piece of code here. You guys can pause and write them down, and they're all predefined styles for our page. So it will take a long time if I write all of them. You guys can go ahead and write them, and it's just predefined styles that will apply to all the sections on the website. So it's this piece of code. So once you wrote them, then you can start styling your navigation. And I assume that you wrote all those codes. And so I'll just write a comment here so we could find our navigation. Let's style out our navbar first. Our navbar, we give it a background color of 2222, and we gave important. The reason we gave it important to override the Bootstrap style. So let's see if this is applied. There we go. We got this background color. Let's give it a text transform of uppercase. We want them to look all in uppercase, and then we give it a font family of PT, sans, narrow, and then comma, Arial, comma, sans serif, and a font weight of 700. Let's see how it looks like. There we go. Next thing, we want our anchor tags to give them some style. Navbar A, color, We want them to look white. And this is, we also need to give this an important, and we'll give it an opacity of 0.7. The next thing is to create a hover effect. Navbar a hover, so it should the opacity turn back to 1, and a background color of 1111 and important. So let's see. There we go. So when we hover over our links, the color, the opacity goes back to 1. That's all we need for our navigation. Let's move to the next section. The next section that we're going to build is the header section. So let's write a comment. And let's start with a class of with a div with ID of header and with class of header. Create another div with class of container and another div with class of row and another class with columns. So we want this column to be 6 column in a large device, and we also want this to be 6 column in a medium device. So let's duplicate this. In this one, I'm going to put my h1 and paragraph and the 2 buttons that we have on the left side. So it will be, for h1 I will just write responsive web design, and for our paragraph I'll just bring some dummy text, so you guys can go ahead, copy some text and put it there. And then we create our 2 buttons. First button, we give it a class of btn. Then we give it we want these buttons to be large, so I'll give it a class of btn_lg, which means large, and I want this to be the color of primary. Primary is like a blue color in Bootstrap, and there are other colors too, like danger, info, success. So you guys can look at them on Bootstrap and you'll know what color is each class. And I'll just put here by now, and Command D duplicate another, and I'll put view detail, and I'll just give it a class of success. There we go. And for this one, we just need to put our image here, and this image right here, responsive web design, right there. So let's look what we got. Refresh the page. Here we got our h1 tag. It's actually under this navigation. Once we will fix it to bring it down, and then we have our paragraph and 2 buttons and the image. An image looks big, we will fix it in the style sheet. So let's move to the style sheet and give it some style, and call this header. Comment this out. Let's start first our header and give it a height of 600 pixel, a width of 100%, a padding of 30 pixel, 30 pixel, and a margin top 50 pixel, and a background image, URL, images, so this bg3. And let's give our background image a position. We want this to be centered, and a background repeat, no repeat, and a background size cover. And let's give a color to all our text in the on the header, a white color. Here we go. Let's look at what we got. So refresh the page. There we go. We got our text on the left fixed. So now we have to work on our image and the buttons. So the first thing, let's fix our image. Give it a height of 350 pixel and a width of 450 pixel. Margin of 70 pixels, 0, 0, 40 pixel. And we want our header H1 is going to be, we'll give it a font size of 40 pixel and a font weight of 700 and a padding top of 30 pixel. Fix our header H1, our paragraph, and the buttons. Since we add, let's give them a margin top, a margin top of 20 pixel. And the next thing is to give a margin to our buttons and get rid of the border radius. If you guys look here, they're very close to each other, and also these border radius that you see on the patterns, we want to get rid of that. First, the border radius 0 and a margin 40 pixel, 20 pixel. Let's see what we have. Refresh the page. There we go. Our image is fixed. We have a space between our buttons and paragraph and the H1 tag, and also the buttons, they don't have the border radius anymore. So the next thing is to see how this looks on a small device. Come to developer tool and responsive design mode. So if you guys look, this looks a little bit messy. We have to fix this. Let me bring it to the right. To fix the small device size, let's put the media query tag in CSS for a small device. So to do that, you just write media and give max width of 768 pixel. Inside this, let's fix our header. Give it a padding of 30 pixel and a height of 750 pixel. And then let's fix our header image. I'll give it a width of 90% and a height of 300 pixel and margin 20 pixel, 0, 0, 20 pixel. Let's refresh the page and see what we got. Let me save it, refresh. So you see the background image got longer, but still, you know, the image is not there and the patterns, they're kind of not next to each other, and the text is big, so we have to fix them. The header buttons. We give them a font size of 10 pixel and a margin left 20 pixel, and the header h1, give it a font size of 20 pixel, and the header paragraph is going to be a font size of 10 pixel. Let's see what we got. Our buttons are fixed, our text got smaller, and the image is just right on the header. So that's it for this section. Let's move to the next section. The next thing that we are building is the service section. For this section, we need to download Font Awesome. Type Font Awesome and click this first link. It takes you right here. Just download and say no thanks. Just download Font Awesome, save the file in our landing page. Let's go and extract the file. So close this. Double click on it. The folder will be extracted. Delete the zip folder. Clean up your folder. So now let's go link the CSS file from the Font Awesome onto our page. Right below Bootstrap, let's put a link, and so Font Awesome, the CSS folder, which is the first folder, and then fontawesome.min.css. So our Font Awesome is linked. And if you guys don't know what Font Awesome is, you guys can look at the website, and it's just some beautiful icons that you can download from Font Awesome. I should have not closed that because we're going to copy some of the icons from there. So let's start building our service section. Let's put here in header, and then let's put another comment. It says services. Let's start building this section. Div with a class with an ID of services, with class of services, and then a div with container, and inside our container we have a h2, and we give it we call it services. This will be the name of our section. And then let's paste a dummy text for the paragraph. Paste. And the next thing is that we need to create 4 columns for our widgets. So we will, inside our row, we will create our columns. I want this to be on a large device. I want this to be 3 columns, and I want this to be 3 columns inside a medium device. So let's duplicate this 3 times, because we need 4 of them. First we need to copy the icon from Font Awesome. Let's go back to icon, Font Awesome website, right down here. So the first icon that we need is the desktop icon. Right, this one. You just copy this link Go back to our code editor, paste it right there. And then beneath the icon, we put a h4 and we call it web design. And then again, a dummy paragraph. We'll just copy, let's create a paragraph tag, paste the dummy text. For this one, put the phone icon. And search mobile. You get this paste, and we need to copy this one. We will just change the text. And for the next one, let's find a database icon. Right, this one. Let's copy it. Control C, Command C. And let's copy sorry, we forgot to change the text on this one. So the first one is web design, and we call this one mobile app, mobile apps, and this one we just call it database. And so for this one, let's copy, find an icon. Let me see what kind of icon I can get, because it will be consulting. So let me first bank. Yeah, it's this one. And let's copy the text. And call this consulting. And services. Here we go. Let's check what we got. There we go. We got our text, so we need to style this. Let's move to the style sheet. So I'll just write services. So comments are always good when you want to later on, if you want to come back and find each section. It helps you a lot to find a section. First, we design our services. Give it a padding of 80 pixel, 0, 80 pixel. And we give it a text align center. Design our H1 and H4. Our H1 and services H4. We give it a color of 4C. And we give it a margin of 20 pixels, 0, 20 pixel. And this is not H1, it's H2. the paragraphs that we have in the page, in this section, we want to give them a color of 7373373 and give it a font size of 14 pixel and a padding bottom of 40 pixel. Let's refresh the page and see what we got. So yeah, it looks nice. Now we need to style these icons. Well, I kind of make them bigger and give them a background color. Services, all the I, give it a height of 80 pixel and a width of 80 pixel. Give it a font size of 30 pixel. Give it a padding of 25 pixel and 20 pixel. And a border radius of 50%. And a background color of 6699 cc, and we want the icon color to be white. So let's see what we got. Refresh the page. There we go. So our icons are now bigger, got a good background color, and they all look clean and neat. So let's look how it looks on a small device. Developers, responsive design mode. They look good actually, but still we need to add some padding. So let's add the media query. Max width 768 pixel. Services, give it a padding of 30 pixel. So let's refresh the page. Yeah, now it looks a lot better. So that's it for this section. Let's move to the next section. The next section is the price section. Let me write a comment. Start with div with an ID of pricing and a class of pricing. Div with the class of container. Inside our container, our row. And then we put our h2 tag, call it pricing. And then we create our first column. So I want this to be in a large device to be 3 columns, and I also want this to be on a small device to be 3 columns too. Another div, give it the class of packages, and then a h4, we call this package to be bronze, and then we gave our package, the pricing on our package, a h1 tag. I'll call this $9.99, and then I'll put a b tag and say this price is monthly, and then a p tag. So I have a dummy text, and I'll paste it here, and I'll just put a line, and then I'll put list all the description of our package, what our package contains. So I'll put them in a list, say 100 users, then give this SSL certificate, just give online support, then I'll give 300 gigabyte disk space, a 100 email addresses. You guys can put whatever you want. It's a demo. I'll put MySQL. MySQL database. That's it. A button at the end. I'll give it a class of btn success, and I'll put here get started. Let's copy them 3 times. Let's fix all. The column divs, so we know where our divs are located. And let's change the name of the packages. I'll call this silver, and I give it 1999. And this one I'll call it gold. Give it 29.99. And this one I'll call it premium. And give it 39.99. So let's save and see what we got. So there we go. We got our text, and now we need to add some style to it. Add a comment for pricing section. Add a padding to our pricing section of 50 pixel, 80 pixel, text align, center, background color, .3399 FF. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, we got our background color and our text is aligned. Give it a color of white, and our pricing paragraph, give it a paragraph, give it a padding bottom of 40 pixel, and we to design our packages, pricing packages. Give it a padding of 30 pixel, a border of 1 pixel, solid, and this color, a background color of white, border radius 5 pixel, a margin top 30 pixel. So we need to style our list in the packages, make them display block, give it a padding of 5 pixel, and our package is h4 h1, the price, and the B, give it a color of packages. We need to give a color to our list and to our paragraphs and list. Our packages buttons, we gave it a margin top 10 pixel. Let's see. Fish. Our style doesn't work, so I think we made a mistake with the adding classes to our packages in the HTML markup. So let's make sure we spell it correctly. It has like an A, we have to get rid of this A. If you're using bracket, you just select your packages and Command B, and it will select all the packages. So there we go, we spelled it wrong. So now let's refresh the page. There we go. Everything is perfect. Now let's look how it looks on a small device. It doesn't look too bad, but it still needs some style. So let's go back to our style sheet and just copy and paste the media query from here. For pricing, we add a padding of 30 pixel and packages 80%, and we give it a margin lift of 25 pixel. Let's refresh it. Yeah, I think now it looks clean. That's it as far as pricing. Let's move to the next section. Let's add a comment in our pricing section. And add another comment to start the next section. And the next section will be the theme section. For theme section, we give it a div with ID of theme and class of theme. Inside that, div with class of container, and inside our container, a div with class of row, Inside our row, we will have an h2 tag, and we will write meet our team, and we need I'll just put a dummy text there. Then we add our columns. It will be a 3-column on a large device and 3-column on a medium device. And we'll put the image of our team member, image source. So we go to our image folder, and in our image folder I have another folder for our team member images, and I'll just put the team 1 and then the name of our team member, call it John Doe, and I'll put his position in a B tag. CEO and founder, and I'll put a brief description about our team member. And then I add his social media under the paragraph. So we need to go back to our we need to go back to Font Awesome. First we need a Facebook icon. Let's take this. And then we need a Twitter. And then we need a LinkedIn icon. Just paste it here. And then we need a Pinterest icon. Paste it here. So let's copy this 3 times. On the image, we also need to add a Bootstrap class of image circle. And let's copy this image to all the other team members and change the image. Team 2. Just paste the image here and give this 3. Paste this here and give it 4. Let's see what we have on our page. Go to our page, refresh the page. There we go. We got our images and our name and description about each team member. So it's time to style them. Let's go to our style sheet. In the style sheet, we add a comment for our team. The team, we give it a padding 50% on top, 0 to the right, and 80% at the bottom. We align the text to the center. And let's style our B tag, our H2 tag, and our H4 tag. Give it a margin of 20 pixel on top, 0 to the right, and 20 pixel at the bottom. And give it a color of 4C. For the paragraph, give it a color of 737373. We need to style our image. Give it a height of 150 and a width of 150 pixel, and a margin top 80 pixel. Let's see what we have. There we go. Our images got smaller and our text become more organized. It's time to style the icon, the font awesome icons. Give it a height of 30 pixel, a width of 30 pixel, padding of 5 pixel, font size of 17 pixel, border radius 50%, background color A0DB8E. Give it an over effect to our little icons. We want the background color to be $709963. Let's refresh the page. Go. So we need to give this a different color and give it a color of white. Let's see. It looks clean. Our team section is finished. Let's go to the next section. The next section that we are building is the client section. Before we start building that section, I just want to close this section with a comment. So our team section ends here. I want to start the client section with a comment of clients, so we know where our section started. To start simply with a div with an ID of clients, and class of clients. Then we gave it a div with a container. Inside our container, we create another div with class of row. And we need to create our h2 tag. And inside this, you just write trusted by, and then a paragraph. Put the text here. We create our columns. I want this column to be 3 columns in a small device, in a large device, and also to be 3 columns in a medium device. So let's duplicate this 3 more times because we will have 4 logos. And I want to wrap our images with the listing tag. That's it. Let's copy this. And paste it inside each column. I'll just change the number. In my case, that's how I name my client images. And I just change the number and it will give me a different logo. So it makes it easier to find your images and put them in one order. So we got 4 logos. Let's check them, how it looks on our browser. Whoa. I know it looks messy, so we will fix it in our style sheet. Let's go to the style sheet. We start with a comment, so we know where our style has started for this section. Let's first add some style to our section. We give it a padding of 50 pixel on top, 0, and then 50 pixel, 80 pixel at the bottom. Give it a background color of 3399 FF. We align the text center, and we gave the text in the section a white color. And just add a color to our h2 tag in this section. So the color will be 5E, 5E, 5E. And then we add a padding bottom to our paragraph to push the images downward. So we give it a padding bottom of 40 pixel. And then we gave our client images, the logos, this will make it smaller, a width of 200 pixel, an opacity of 0.6, and we want the cursor when we hover over the picture, so it should be a pointer. And we give it a margin of 40 pixel, 0. And we give it a transition all 500 millisecond is and out. So we're going to create a hover effect. So when we create that hover effect, we want to make sure that the transition from one logo to another logo is smooth, and it will happen to all the element and to all the element of the section, and then it will be in 500 millisecond, and this will be the transition name. Client list. When it's hover, we want the image to take its opacity back to 1. Let's refresh the page and see. There we go. So everything is organized. So when we hover over them, opacity will be back to 1. This was it for this section. Let's move on. The next section that we are building is the contact section. Before we start building our contact section, let's add a comment to the previous section, which is add another comment for our new section, which is the contact section. Simply begin with div with an ID of contact, class of contact. Inside that div, we create another div with class of container. Inside our container, another div with class of row. Inside our row, we put our h2 tag and the paragraph tag. h2, say contact. Inside the p tag, we just add a text. After our p tag, we create our columns. Columns, large device, 6 columns. Column, medium device, 6 columns. So we want this column to be shown with the same number of columns on both devices. So Command D to duplicate. This section is 12 columns, and we divide it into 2. So the first section, the first part will be 6 columns, and the second part will be 6 columns. In the first part, we create our input fields. So to create the input field in Bootstrap, you wrap it with a div of input group, class of input group, and we want this field to be large. Group LG. That means it will give you a large input field. So inside this, we add a span. If you guys saw the demo, it has small icons on the left side of each input field. For email, it has the envelope icon, and for phone number, it has the caller icon, and for name, it has the avatar icon. So this is where we put those icons. So span with class of input group add-on, and we gave it an ID of sizing add-on 1, and right here we put our icon, but we will do that later on. So let's first create our input field. So to create our input field, we create input with class of form control. So the type will be text, but we need to add one more thing to this to connect our icon with the input field. So that will be area describe by, and we will put the ID of the span here, sizing add-on 1. So we need to copy this 2 more times because we have 3 input fields on the left. Copy, paste, paste. And we need to add a placeholder for each input field. For this one, full name. Right, email address. For this one, phone number. Now it's time to add our small icons to the left. So let's go to Font Awesome. Let's search for the avatar. So you just type user, you will get this little avatar. Command C, copy. Go back to our code editor, and we will place it right here between our span. Go back to Font Awesome. Search for envelope, which is for email address. Oops. Copy this one. Command C. Come back to our code editor and paste it right here between the span. Go back to Font Awesome. Search for call. We will get this color icon. Copy. Go back to our code editor. Paste it between the span. Let's look how this looks on the browser. Refresh the page. Come down. Here we have our 3 input fields. So now we need to put the text editor and the button here, so when the user put their information, they could click on it and send the information. Let's go back to our code editor. So it will be between this column. We had, if you remember in the beginning, we had 2 columns, two divs with 6 columns. So in the first 6 column, we put all the input fields, and in this one we will put our button and the text area. Create a div with class of input group. We add a text area with class of form control. This is the Bootstrap class that gives it the active and focus style. For the number of columns, we put 80 columns. And for the number of rows, we put 6 rows. The next thing is to create our button. So button with class of btn, and we want this button to be a large button, so we add LG, button LG, that will make it large, and inside this we will write submit your message. Let's save it. Go to the browser, refresh the page. Here we got our text area and we got our button right here, but we will add some style to it and it will look nice. Let's go to style sheet and style all these input fields and the text area. To add a style to our contact form, let's add a comment so we know where our style for this section starts. Just write contact and comment this out. First we need to add some style to our section. So contact, we add padding. We want to give it a 50 pixel padding on top, 0 and 80 pixel at the bottom. We want all the text in this section to be aligned center. Let's add a style to the p tag. We give it a padding bottom of 80 pixel and give it a color of 737373. Add style to our h2 tag. Give it a color of 4C 4C 4C. Give it a margin of 20 pixel on top, 0 and 20 pixel at the bottom. We want to add some margin to our input group, which is the wrapper for our input field. Give it margin bottom 25 pixel. Should be enough. Let's give this the input field. We want to get rid of those border radius, which is by default it comes with that's the Bootstrap style. So let's get rid of that default style. To do that, you just add contact. It has the class of form control. Target the class and add border radius 0 because it's the Bootstrap default style. In order to override that, so we write important. We also need to get rid of the border radius on the icon, the small icons on the left. Contact span border radius 0. Add the important tag. The next thing is to add some style to our button. Be contact btn. Let's get rid of the border radius on this one too. Give it a width of 100%. So it will be only take 100% width of the 6 columns that we give it to the right. Give it a font size. So the font size will help to show the text on the button larger. Give it 15 pixel and add a background color F08080. And we want the color of the text inside the button to be white. We want to add an hover effect to this button. When we hover over the button, so we want the background color to change into this color, A85959, and we want the color to be white. I know we also add the color right here. We give it a white color, but the reason we put it here, that's the Bootstrap hover default style. When we hover it, if we don't add this white color, the color will be black. So that's why we have to add the white color here again to make sure when we hover over the button, it still keeps it white. So let's save this and go to our browser. Refresh the page. Here we are. You see in our input fields, we don't have the border radius anymore. Our icons are there, and there's no border radius on this one either. And then we have our text area with our button. Oh, it looks like we haven't got the hover effect color. So let's see what's going on. We probably need to add a important here to override the Bootstrap hover style. Refresh, it's over. Yeah, it's got fixed. That's it for this section. Let's go to the next section. We are almost done with our website. The last section is the footer. Before we start building our footer, let's end the previous section by adding a comment. End contact. And start our new section by adding a comment. We simply start with a div with class of footer, with ID of footer and class of footer. Inside our div, we create another div with class of container. Inside our container, we create another div with class of row. Inside our row, we have 3 containers. Each will have 4 columns. For the first one, we use div, give it column. On a large device, you want this to be 4 columns. And on a medium device, we want this to have 4 columns. Command D, duplicate this 2 more times. 1, 2. On the first one, we put an h4 tag, call it contact as. We put some contact information if someone wants to contact us. And we wrap the contact information with a p tag, with a paragraph tag. If you guys saw, if you guys remember from the demo section, our footer section, the address part had the like little icons, like for the home address, for the office address, it had the home icon, and for the email, it had the envelope icon. So we're going to bring those icons here. So let's go to Font Awesome, and the first thing will be the home icon. We use this for the address. And let's put 11, like just an address. Put Washington, DC. And add just a zip code. And the next one is our email. Let's find the envelope icon. Right here. Copy the tag back to our code editor. Paste it here. and write an email address, info@media.com. The next one is the phone number. Just get another call icon. Just add a number. And we need to add a globe icon for our website. Command C. www.media.com. So this was for our first container, and for the next container we will add a h4 tag and call it about, some information about us. Yeah, let's also add some like icons here too. We probably add like squares to just make them look good. Let's bring the square. Yeah, maybe this one. Yeah, take the empty one. Maybe say about us, then we say about the privacy of our company, then term and condition. That's it for this container. And the last container we will add, our social media contact and also a subscription field. If someone wants to subscribe, they can put their email and subscribe. So let's first add our social media icon, and we will just go copy Facebook, take this icon. First we need to add a h4 tag before we paste the social media icon. It'll say stay in touch. Just paste the icon. So we had Facebook. Let's get the Twitter. And let's get the LinkedIn. And let's get the Pinterest. Let's get maybe 2 more. We'll get YouTube and GitHub. You see how useful Font Awesome is? It easily gives you a lot of icons that you need for your project. It's just amazing. They've done a great job. And the next thing, let's get the GitHub. And then we give it a break tag here to put our subscription field. So input, just give it a type of email, give it a placeholder, say subscribe for updates, and then the button right and next to it with a give it class of BTN success. This will be the color of the button. Subscribe. And refresh the page. Come down. Looks good. We have all our footer information. Even if we don't add any style, they look organized, but we will add some style to it. So let's go to style sheet. To add style to our footer, we just add a comment. So we know where our style for the footer section started. So let's give the footer container some style. Give it a padding of 30 pixel. A color, you know, all the text in the footer, we will give it a color of this color. And give it a background color. Usually the background color for footer is the same as the nav bar, so that's the color that we are going to give it. Be 222. Let's see how it looks. Refresh. Good. Looks good. We need to, one thing we forgot to add class to our social media icons, because if we target it by the I tag, that's gonna change the entire, because we have the squares and we also have the home icon, like the address icon here, like this one. It will change all of it, but we don't want to change these tags, so we want to give these a class, and we target specifically these ones, the social media icon. Let's go back to our footer markup, and this is the social media icon. Just add a class of social media, like just add a social class. So I'm holding the command button on my keyboard, and I just click on every I tag on the class part. And that's the good thing about bracket, it allows you to do that. So we just add the class of social. You got all the icons with a class of social. Let's go back to our style sheet and target these icons by this class of social. So footer social give it a font size of 20 pixel, and we give it a height of 30 pixel and width of 30 pixel. And we want the text to be aligned center and give it a padding of 5 pixel. And we want to give it a border of 1 pixel, solid, and the same color as the icon itself. And give it a margin bottom of 10 pixel and give it a margin right of 5 pixel. So we want them to have some space. And let's see what we got. Refresh the page. Let me see, I think I didn't save the index file. Didn't save this one. Refresh. Here, it looks good. Once we are done with the social media icon, we can add some style to our input field, the subscription input field. Footer input, give it a height of 40 pixel, a width of maybe 160 pixel, and a padding of 5 pixel, and border, give it border of none. So we don't want any border with this input field. Give it a background color. We want it to look like other text on the footer. So we want the color of input field. If someone wants, when they put their email, that color should be black. The last thing is to add some style to our button. Give it a padding of 10 pixel. On top, 5 pixel to the sides and 10 pixel. And give it a margin minus 3 pixel on top. So we want to push it a little bit up to make sure it's aligned with the input field. And 0, 0, 5 pixel. Let's refresh the page and see what we got. Refresh. Here we go. Got a beautiful button, and it is aligned with the input field. Like you put an email example. It looks nice. So this was it for this section, and the next thing is to add our animation to the page. If you guys remember from the demo section, our website had animation. Let me refresh the page and show you guys one more time the animation on the page. This is a cool animation that makes user more engaged while they're visiting your website. So as I promised, we're going to add this animation to this tutorial. To do that, we need to download 2 plugins. The first one is the animation.css and the other one is the JavaScript WoW file. So first we're going to download the animation.css. animate.css. Go to Google and type CSS animation library. The first link is this animate.css. Click on it and it takes you to this page. In this page you can see different type of animation that you can use in your website. Like if you choose bounce out, or fade out big. You can find different types of animation from here. Below that box, you see this folder, that's this link that says download animate.css, or just say view on GitHub. It takes you to the GitHub page. On the GitHub page, it also has the instruction how you can download this page and install it on your website. We're going to download it from here. At this far right, it says clone or download. Click on it and say download zip. I'm going to save this folder in our project folder on desktop. Let's go to our project and extract the file from the zip folder. We don't need the zip folder, so I delete it. Open the folder, and we need only the two files here. We need the animate.css and we need the animate.min.css. So I selected both and Command C copied both files. And I'm going to paste it in our CSS folder. We don't need this folder anymore. Delete it. Now we need to link the CSS file into our index.html. Come to top to the head section, link CSS, and we need to link this animate.min.css. That's it as far as downloading the animate.css. The next thing that we need to do is to download the wow.js file. Go to Google again and type type wow.js. The first link on top, click on it, and it brings you to this funny looking website. So here you can, if you click how to use it, it gives you to the instruction page, step by step, asks you to link to the CSS animation library, which we already did it. So we don't need to worry about this first step. The second step is, it says to copy this code at the very bottom of your page. So we copy this page and we go and put it all the way down here below the jQuery file. The next thing is to download the wow.js file. You go to this link, GitHub, click on it, and it takes you to the GitHub page for this library. Click on it, download zip folder, save file, and we are going to save it in our project folder. Let's go back to the project folder, and here we have our wow.js file. So it's in a zip folder. Double click on it to extract the file. Delete the zip folder since we don't need it, and open the code, the folder. So the files that we need is located in this folder, dist. Open it and then copy both files. And let's go to our main folder, open your JavaScript folder and paste both files there. Now we're ready to add animation to our page. So let's do it. To add animation to your website, you just come to this animate.css and choose the type of animation that you want the container to have. You pick it from here, whatever animation you want to have, just click on it. As you see, there will be a demo and it shows you how the element will be animated. For example, if we want to add animation to our header, I'll just come to this one and add this to our header. So this is our header container, and I will add this to our class, to this column, the first column. Before you add the animation class, you start with wow, class wow, and then you add the whatever the class is here. In this case, it's bounce and left. So it will bounce and it will come from the left side. Bounce and left. You make sure that you add the exact spelling, otherwise the animation will not work. Let's refresh the page and see if our animate works. You guys see the animation works. The other thing that you can add is the time, how long you want this to wait and then start coming in, and that will be with data wow delay. Here you can add the number of seconds that you want your animation to wait before it happens. So let's add 1 second. If we refresh the page, the animation will wait for 1 second and it will happen after 1 second. So you guys have noticed that the animation this time it was longer, and it was because of the duration that we gave it. So let's add animation to all the elements that we want to be animated in our website. On the header section, we want to animate the left container and the right container. For the left container, I will put wow bounce in left. And for the right container, I want the same thing to happen, but this should come from the right. Let's refresh the page and see. There we go. Now it's time to add animation to our service section. I will choose the fit in animation from the left side to the service section. So to do that, you just write wow and then the animation name. I'll copy this class to all of our columns, to the columns that hold our content or our widgets. Put it there, this column, for this column. Let's see if the animation is applied. Refresh. As you guys see, it fits in from the left to the right, but we don't want them to fit in all at the same time, so we have to add some duration time that they can fit in one after another. To do that, we need to add the delay, the data wow delay, and then give it the duration of 1.8 seconds for the first column to fit in, Let's copy this to all our columns. For this one, we want this to fit in 1.4 second. And the third column, we want this to fit in 0.8 second. 0.8 second. And for this one to fit in 0.4 second. Let's see. This looks good. So they fit in one after another. Now it's time to add animation to our pricing section. We add the animation to our columns. We simply add the class of wow, and for this one I chose the flip and Y animation. Let's copy this to all our columns, the 4 columns that we have in this section. Save the page, refresh. We need to add a duration so it flips like one after another, like our service section. To give it duration, as we did with the service section, we add data wow delay. For this section, we give it, for the first one, we gave it 0.8 second. For our next column, we gave it 1.2 second. For our third column, we gave it 1.6 second. And for our last column, we gave it 2 seconds. Let's refresh the page. As you guys see, it flips one after another. For this one, we simply add the animation to our columns that holds our content. I chose the same animation that we put for the service section. Wow, fit in, lift. Let's copy this to all our classes. And we need to give it a data duration. For the first one, we give it 2 seconds. Let's copy this to the rest of our columns. For this one, we give it 1.6. Give it 1.2. And we give it 0.8. Let's refresh the page. Good. The next section that we want to animate is the client section. We want all the logos to fit in one after another. And we need to give it a data delay. First one, we give it 2 seconds. Let's copy this to the rest of the columns. For the second one, we give it 1.6 seconds. For the third one, we gave it 1.2 seconds. For the last one, we gave it 0.8 seconds. Let's see our client section. As you guys see, it fits in one after another. For the contact form, I chose fit up animation for our input fields. And we add the animation to our input group div. Simply we add a wow and then fit up. Simply add wow, fit in, up. Let's simply add fit in, up. Let's copy this to the rest of our input fields. We want to give the same animation to our text area and our button. We simply add the data wow delay. Let's copy this to all our input fields. For this one, we gave it 1.2 second. For the third one, we gave it 1.6 second. For our text area, we give it 2 seconds. And for our button, we give it 2.4 seconds. Let's check them out. There we go. It looks good. They fit one after another. In our demo website, we also had animation for our h2 tags and the paragraph tags. So we are going to add animation to all our h2 tags and the paragraph tags in every section. Let's go to our text editor. We give the h2 tag in our service a class, and then we add our animation, and they all will be fit up animation. Wow, fit in, up. Let's copy this to all our h2 tags in every section. The next thing is to also add animation to our paragraph tags in every section. In our service section, we add a class to our paragraph, and we give it the class of wow, fed in, up, and we need to give it a data wow delay, so they fed up right after our h2 tag in 0.4 second. Let's copy this to all our paragraphs in our sections. Let's refresh the page and see if the animation works with all the elements in our sections. Command S, save our page, and let's refresh it. Okay, as you guys see, our paragraphs are also animated. Same with this section, and same with this section, with our client section too, and also with our contact form. We are done with adding the animation section, and with this one, our tutorial ends here. Thank you very much for watching the tutorial. Please subscribe to my channel, and I have a lot of other cool tutorials which are coming pretty soon. And to get notified, subscribe, so that way you will learn when the next tutorial is out. Please like, share, and comment. And if you think that I can improve making tutorials or whatever things that you see interesting and useful, so you can write it down in the comment section, and I will make sure that we will apply it for the next tutorial. And I will put my Twitter link down below. You can follow me on Twitter. Thank you very much. See you next time.